Hello, everybody. My name is Files, and I will be joined shortly by Clearmouse, and we are here to bring you some all dungeons, key sanity, randomizer, intenseness. This is a battle between Eriror and Hitsuyan. Should be a really good match. You can see there is a slight points discrepancy between these two league teams, but there is still plenty of match action to be going on here. So this should be a good match. Both these runners are definitely very skilled. And when it comes to modes that are fun to watch, all dungeons key sanity is a great one because you combine a lot of really smart routing. You basically end up seeing almost the entire game. So yeah, should be a good time. And is that a clear mouse that I see in here? Maybe.
So, Files, how's it going?
Wait, yep.
Yeah, sorry, I had some technical difficulties, but yeah, I am very, very excited to watch this match. Should be good. Hitsu versus Eri. These are top players, both from Europe in this case. But I mean, this is going to be definitely a match for the ages.
Wow, for the ages. Are you saying that our grandchildren's grandchildren will be talking about this match?
Well, I mean, why not, right?
I am going to bust out the finger paint, and I'm going to start writing on the cave walls the tale of Eri versus Hitsu. It's going to be epic.
Oh no, this should be good. So like, and in Force, Rush can have a bit of difference, right, in terms of style. Eri is probably more kind of like a by the rainbow book, if there were. Hitsu probably takes more of a off the beaten path road type of routing decision. So this should be definitely a good contrast.
Oh, that's the nicest I've ever heard anyone call Hitsu a clown router before. No, Hitsu is definitely a strong player. But yeah, you are right. There is definitely a playstyle difference here, for sure. But I mean, not right now. We've got a pretty solid, identical start going here. Well, and of course, as soon as I say that, Hitsu opts to not go up to Lumberjack Tree. So yeah, thus illustrating your point. I'm gonna have to add that to the finger paint cave painting.
Oh no, I mean, and it's certainly, this is something common we see from runners. If they don't have the boots, it is kind of a longer trek to go to Lumberjack, and so it's not like you can actually get the item without boots anyway. So if you want to put item off.
Yeah, definitely. You'll see a lot of runners included in when they do like bonk rock checks and the flank shori checks and stuff like that. But bush crab being a big 20 is really nice. That'll give them their Kakariko money. Could even have enough to to buy extra bombs if they need them or something like that. So usually don't turn that down. Aries going ham on this bush crab money.
Yeah, in fact, this is, as you said, bottle vendor money. This could be, future Zora money. This can also be, for, maybe potions for, or like pod entry. Having more money is always, is always better, especially early in the game.
All right, so we've got So Aries doing the classic Lost Woods save and quit check. I'm curious, yeah. So he's gonna take that money that he got buy bombs to do a back of Sahasrahla, it looks like. It's a solid play.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Ari doing very much the same, minus the lumberjack check addition there. He's also going to have more cash money dollars. What with the double bush crab?
Yeah, he also have to be a little bit, he'll feel a little bit more comfortable, basically, coming all the way over here, with some money. It's not going to make it too much of a difference in Eastern, but, certainly if you want something extra later on, he'll have that luxury. All right, Green Pennant looks like today is going to be Swamp Palace.
All right.
So yeah.
Nice. I mean, that's a solid reason to. All right. It looks like Hitsu is going to continue over to Eastern. Now, remember, in key sanity modes, the odds of you having to like double dip dungeons are higher, so you'll see more runners kind of opt to jump in these dungeons, but you won't often see them jump into it this early. So I'm real curious to see what Eri is going to decide to do here. All right, it is going to be a save and quit, but yeah, he'll either go to Kakariko or perhaps Self Shore, depending on what he's excited about. It looks like it's going to be Kakariko.
Yeah, maybe this also could be an early back of escape check. So he just picked up those great gloves, and he does have 9 bombs to work with. So this is going to be another 3 free checks for Eri as well.
Yeah, getting the back of escape out of the way. I mean, unless you get like exactly a sword and the extra like small key back here, you aren't going to do the rat. So, well, I guess we could do it with the boomerang, but killing a rat with a bomb is like pretty nightmarish. So, and the odds of finding that exact small key down here are pretty low. So.
Yeah, as you said. Oh wow, okay. So Eri finding a pretty nice pick up there with the fire rod. Also with the map of Swan Palace. We already know that it's green pendented because Hitsu talked to Sahashila, but Eri of course doesn't know that quite yet.
Alright, so yeah, it looks like he is heading for South Shore. Super curious what Eastern is gonna end up being for Hitsu. Not a whole lot that's very interesting so far, it looks like. I mean, I guess a hard container early, you never say no to that, but it's not exactly something you care like a whole lot about.
Yeah, I mean, so certainly we see that Hitsu has almost double Aries health at this point. You know, it's early health is always certainly nice in terms of safety, right? But you know, if these guys actually want to, you know, like death warp more efficiently, that health actually can become more of a hindrance than anything else. So they really want to kind of find that mirror early on.
Yeah, you know you're good at this game when having too much health is actually a hindrance.
Yeah.
All right, so Hitsu's only got one more check and logic here. Since we don't have the big key, we're gonna just have to wave at that large chest as we walk by it. By large chest. Hope you don't have anything good.
you mean like the big one, right?
I mean, big, large, it's all the same.
Yeah.
All right, Eri does not have a ton of bombs here. So ideally, he would like to kill 2 with 1 bomb, and he does. Wow.
That's some nice skill there.
that takes skill and a little bit of RNG, because if the Moldorms just aren't cooperating, they won't be together. And his reward for this excellent bomb usage is 3 pieces of paper. What is going on?
All right, a little bit more money.
Hera big early is kind of nice.
Yeah, you know, especially since, you know, in more non-key sanity modes, right? We kind of view the Hera big key now as more of like a, you know, like a nice to have or like a fetch quest, right? Because of Hera pot. But, you know, especially in key sanity, you may not always have that luxury of having the hook shot available to you when you want to go up there. So this is going to be certainly some nice access to him once he gets up to the mountain.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, and also it's one less thing to worry about for, like, you know, Hera big chests and stuff like that. Even if you do get hook shot for like Hera pot and stuff like that.
Yeah, I certainly like the use of the defensive quick swapping there with the boomerang to kind of stun those crabs so Eri doesn't get hit. He does only have 3 hearts, and those crabs do 2 hearts of damage, so it's really not comfortable. Is this? Yeah, is this
all the maps?
I guess we're just gonna get a lot of knowledge up front, but yeah, this is like at least half our dungeon maps already.
We're like Legend of Magellan and a link to the maps.
Oh yeah.
I'm not proud of that one. Clear mouse. I need that needed work. All right. Wow. We got so we have after all that route divergence, they are nearly synced up again on the way to Kakariko. I like it.
Yeah, certainly from Eri's perspective, this is actually kind of like a nicer path to Kakariko, just because you do end up encountering those 50-50 bomb bushes, right? Because Eri only has 2 bombs, so it would have been nice if he was able to pick up 1 more, but you know, he's looks like luck was unfortunately not on his side this time around. But 2 bombs still is very nice it is still easy to work with, and he has a ton of money, so he can always just buy 10 more bombs.
Yeah. And of course, now the bombs in the library just taunting them.
Yeah.
Well, taunting Eri, I guess.
Yeah, Hitsu on the other hand, he I guess he only used 1 bomb so far out of the 10 that he's bought, so he should be good to go.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, not having gone to South Shore and all that, he has more bombs at his disposal.
Oh wow.
All right, so we've got Hera big and Hera small right now. And a fire source, actually. So once we can actually get to Hera, which at this point is just a mirror, yeah, they'll be set up. And remember, it's all dungeons, so like they're gonna have to kill Moldor in one way or the other.
Most likely twice this game.
Eri went to all the trouble of buying bombs, and now there's gonna be a triple bomb drop right here in Chicken Hut. All right, so amusingly, Hitsu has exactly the amount of rupees he'll need to pay off Bottle Vendor. That is hilarious. He'll get 20 from the well and 30 from the back of Blind's Hut, so he'll have exactly 100.
That is some efficient money management there.
Yeah, we're gonna pretend that was intentional.
Yeah.
All right, so there's already so that's gonna be 2 pod smalls for Hitsu once he does pay off that Bottle Vendor.
Yeah, speaking of which, also some more Death Mountain access once they can get up there is Hitsu just found the hookshot in the back of the well.
Yeah, hookshot is definitely a nice item to have. And they can get to Death Mountain right now with just the gloves. I mean, it's not quite in logic until you have like the flute or the lantern, but that won't stop these runners.
Yeah, especially also...
I'm super curious to see what is it. Wow, Hitsu getting the extra little bit of hookshot speed in there. I like it.
I know. I mean, you know, so if you're up against somebody like Eri or Hitsu, you really want all of the movement and time advantage you can get. What? Oh my gosh, what the heck? What the heck, man?
Okay. So Blind's Hut had all the goods. And honestly, this is a really good illustration of why both of these runners did the bottom up entry into Kakariko for planning for just such an occasion, because now they have Dark World access and they're already like right here. So I'd be curious to see. I suspect both runners will probably duck into the Dark World. I mean, even though they have the Fire Rod, without a sword, Mothil is technically not accessible because they need to cut the drapes to get in. So, yeah, Hitsu going straight into the Dark World. That does not surprise me. I could see Eri opting to do something else first, but there's Dark World is just so many good so many open chests right now. Yeah, he's going straight there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and especially actually for Eri, right? He has 160 rupees. He can do chess game. He can do a digging game. Like he has the funds in order to do that. Hitsu looks like he probably needs to farm up a little bit more money.
Yeah, he's flat broke. let's not mince words here. He ain't got 2 rupees to rub together. Oh wow, okay, wow. But his Skull Whip play immediately earns him the bow. That's impressive.
Yeah, speaking of, even though these guys don't have a sword, like Hitsu he somehow found himself 11 arrows to work with, so he does actually have a little bit more defense and offense.
Yeah, I suspect, I'm curious to see if Hitsu is going to grab the magic refill in this room here to and like actually go and check the one chest in Skull Woods that's in logic. Because
yeah,
I mean,
that's a really good point.
I mean, if you're gonna commit to, wow, these Gibdos just not playing nice.
Yeah, five hearts is not something comfortable to have here in Skull Woods. These Gibdos can hit pretty hard.
Yeah, all right. He is bombing the wall, so it looks like he is setting up. It is possible to have too many sprites on the screen, so it'll actually despawn the magic refill in there. So you do have to be careful with with how much stuff that's in there, I believe.
Yeah.
But he does get it. So let's see if he turns left here. Doesn't. All right, he is. So either he's preemptively getting the small key for the drop down, or he's committing. Meanwhile, Eri does check the front of Thieves Town. Not sure. I do not think anything valuable was gotten there. All right, so Hitsu he got the key, but opted not to do the one chest that's in logic there. I'm assuming that Wallmaster grab was intentional on his part.
Yeah, I can only imagine because like Hitsu doesn't have the boots, and so like just taking the Wallmaster there is just pretty easy, or it's a much faster way to get back to where you want to be.
Yeah, it looks like we do have confirmation from our excellent tracker, Seiryu X, that the front of Thieves Town was indeed garbage.
At least, for Eri, there was like a plethora of money, so that he probably doesn't necessarily, oh wow, need finding those really nice boots in the brewery. So Eri's going to be dashing pretty quickly. I imagine he's just going to follow very very closely shortly afterwards. Yeah,
he's doing quite well with the boots there. I mean, he's probably wished he would have had them for Thieves Town, but you know what? We can't always get what we want.
Yeah, no, I mean it's very actually quite inefficient, right? To go all the way down unless you actually knew, right, that the boots were in Thieves Town, because for all you know the boots were in the brewery, right? If the boots were in Thieves Town, you would have been even happier.
Yeah, exactly, and frankly, there were more checks in Thieves Town. So, meanwhile, Hitsu just hookshotting everywhere. I love it. He did pick up enough money to do the chess game.
Chess game. Yeah, so luckily for Hitsu, there was actually quite a bit of money inside Thieves Town. As you can see from Ari's rupee count. So he won't be hurting, in order to do like digging or anything like that either. Assuming he goes in, of course.
Yeah, I would be surprised if he doesn't get those 4 free checks while he's in here. Okay, Ether from Stumpy. Area a little less handy with that hook shot. He's got the boots though, so who cares? And Hitsu will have the boots probably shortly after this Thieves Town entry here. Ooh, Eri, you're on 1 heart.
Yeah, this is also kind of the double-edged sword here, or rather lack of a sword. If you're gonna dash around the dark world without a sword, you have to be actually pretty careful because you don't have that sword to hold out in front of you as a defense mechanism. You actually are gonna get hurt because you're just gonna ram your head right into the enemy.
And this screen exactly is a little risky. Eri does do the cool. If you're slightly above that bottom tile and toss the bomb, it will still go across and still be in range of breaking open the cave entrance there, so that's cool.
Right.
And to nobody's surprise, more maps.
More maps, both in Mini Molder and Hype Cave. Speaking of which, this cave was pretty flat.
Yeah, so I'd say definitely a key difference so far here is Hitsuyan's entry into the back of Skull Woods, getting him the bow is pretty significant. It's not like Eri has put it off, it's just that he might be not wanting to go all the way there until he has a sword, or... I mean, even a player of Eri's caliber, a fighter sword Moth with 4 hearts and green mail is not like... with no hammer is like not exactly a free fight, so... So when there's tons of other stuff to do, like, it makes sense.
Yeah, I certainly also, as you said, like, I don't imagine Eri hurting too much from not getting this bow early. They don't have the Eastern Palace big key. They don't really have very many pod keys either, so he's not super incentivized right now to kind of go over to that area.
Oh yeah, and as you mentioned, like the bow isn't like stopping him from doing much right now anyway. But like it's one of those things. Like he will have to get to the back of Skullwoods eventually to. All right, well that was some cool hookshot usage. Might have saved himself like a few frames there.
A few frames gets Hitsu is a few frames in the bank.
the frame bank.
Yes.
do you get interest on frames? Because you don't want frame interest, Clear Mouse. Maybe in the frame bank, frame interest, like they take away frames.
It's not a good frame economy right now. That's at least my thought.
Are you saying that it's a bad frame of reference, Clear Mouse?
Oh.
No? Okay, all right. I'm not proud of that one. Not my best work. All right, let's see. Eri went to a lot of trouble to rescue the Smith, and he gets just a small tip. So he's got a bunch of kind of medium things that he can do right now. I'm wondering if Death Mountain is going to be the choice for him.
Oh, that is a good point. So Death Mountain right now isn't technically logic. We still need that lamp, but Eri is more than capable of doing these dark rooms, especially rescuing the old man. And yeah, with this hook shot, he has a lot of access once he gets up there, and plus he can, I guess, if he especially can find a hammer, he can also make his way over the Tower of Peril, which we know with all our keys is clearable.
Eri continuing to have hookshot trubs, but that's all right. The bird ended up not causing too much trouble. Quick swapping to the boomerang to get slightly better visual in the cave. That's nice. Using the hookshot for that just stalls you for longer. So, all right. So Hitsu is going to end up in Hype Cave in a very similar. What is he doing? Is he going to swim around and do like pod catfish? I'm assuming that's about the only thing you can be doing if you're going this direction. So, all right, so we do get a map check. So, Thieves Town and Pod being crystals was the information we did not know from that map check. I do like this play, honestly. This is a very classic Hitsuyan play. It's classic. I mean, it's reasonably smart. Like, this is not a objectively bad play, but it is perhaps not what, like, if you gave a list of 100 top runners, like what they would route, like not everyone would choose this route, and honestly, like I like it. It's a smart play, I think, at this point in time.
It certainly does increase a lot of variance, you know, and maybe, you know, this in this way, if Hitsu especially thinks that he maybe is at a slight disadvantage, you know, when it comes to area terms of execution, you know, this is another way he can try and gain advantage, right? Is he takes a different path that area may not get to earlier on, and then if there's something good here, that's definitely to Hitsu's, yeah, that's definitely to Hitsu's benefit.
All right, so we found yet another map in Paradox Cave.
Did we not run out of maps already? Like, I thought we like pretty much picked them all up at this point.
We got to be getting close, Clear Mouse. All right, so area about to hit a bunch of the bulk of chests here. All right, so that's we've gotten quite a few Palace of Darkness small keys, which starts to make you wonder if there's something in logic over there.
Yeah, and especially, you know, Eri is delaying his kind of trip over here. You know, maybe partially because he doesn't have the bow. But when he gets over to Pod, right, he's going to be able to make a lot more progress. You know, because he has 3 small keys versus Hitsu looks like he only has 1, according to.
Well, and that bow is going to come in pretty big here because Hitsuyan, I mean, he has a bottle too, but he can just use the bow and go right side, Palace of Darkness. So if he's smart with his keys, well, I guess there's not much you can be without the hammer. You have to open the, open the second door. Yeah. But I mean, depending on where like the pod item is in terms of like, oh wow, it's the mirror on a pod. What a play!
No, that is a huge find, especially this early on, right? The mirror gives you so much access, right? And so we actually kind of saw Eri taking his initial trip over, you know, to rescue the Smith. Hitsu, when he goes over there to do Village of Outcasts, like he can just do that all in one trip. Now, right? He can do K45. Oh my gosh! Yes! Oh my gosh! All right.
Wow!
You weren't kidding.
So, yeah, I mean, really recognizing, you know, I mean, Hitsu had only seen 2 pod small keys. So, but yeah, definitely the call to go over here has paid off.
Yeah,
I can't say I blame Eri for doing what he's doing because just the bulk of chests are over here, but I mean, given the amount of pod small keys that he's found, it wouldn't surprise me if he ended up going in this direction, and he just doesn't have the bow. So the chest that Hitsu pulls from the checks behind these mimics here could be very telling. Hilariously enough, if he had gone this side without opening up the hammer first, like he would be able to jump down. It was like you had to open that center door, like it was 100% required to open up that center door to get further into pod, which is funny to me.
Alright, it looks like nothing in the Bowlock side at least, so that'll be good news for Eri if he doesn't go to Skullwoods early, but but yeah, I mean, like, Files, you weren't kidding when you said there's probably something in, you know, that's of use here in Palace of Darkness. Hitsu found 2 amazingly really good items, and when he goes up to Death Mountain, he can even be more efficient than Eri, right? Because he can now clearly go to Tower Kara and finish that, as well as do like both light and dark, you know, pretty in tandem.
Yeah. Meanwhile, it looks like the only thing useful in Hookshot Cave was the Skullwoods Big Key. We got ourselves a Quake Turtle Rock entry. I wonder if that Skullwoods Big Key might push Eri to doing the front of Skullwoods sooner rather than later for that bow.
I mean,
it looks like, yeah, I'm assuming that Eri is going to be doing the flipper checks at this point. He's got Zora money, so it makes sense. Meanwhile, Hitsu setting up for a hammer jump here. Yeah, not too bad. Obviously, no pod big key, so can't crack open the chest. All right, well, the hobo apparently had beaten up Link's uncle and stolen the fighter sword. That's why he's on the lam. Clear Mouse. He's hiding from the law under the bridge.
Oh, okay, so he's not actually poor. He's not, you know, he's not homeless, right? He's just hiding. I got it.
Yeah. I mean, that's his tent there. That's his home. Clear Mouse. He clearly lives under the bridge.
doesn't even charge Eri for a fee in order to get that sword either. He's like, please take this.
Maybe that was
Don't
his
tell
bribe
anybody.
money. He's like, look, don't tell anybody that I killed your uncle. You can have his sword back. That seems like a weird deal.
Yeah, speaking of actually, we don't have any visit to our uncle so far for the seed.
Hitsu having a little trouble in the dark maze. I wonder if he's stuck in the middle part. If you're going backwards in the dark maze, sometimes you can get kind of caught in the middle. Okay, he did get out. All right, good. So the dark maze didn't have too much actually. I think it was like a heart container and a piece of heart or something. So
yeah,
still, Hitsuyan definitely like a little ahead right now because of that pod play. He's got a lot of stuff he can do with these items. Still no sword though.
Yeah, still. I mean, so assuming Hitsu kind of makes the rest of his flipper checks though, he's gonna pick up his sword relatively soon. Though of course, most importantly for these runners is that they have the boots up pretty early on, so they at least had some more mobility to work with.
Yeah, heck, if he had, if he had the swamp small, he might even like.
Oh my god!
Is he gonna?
Is this where Hitsu's going? Oh wow!
Hitsuyan.
Oh,
He got a hammer and mirror, and the first thing he's gonna do is do. I mean, I guess to be fair, he hadn't done the. I had forgotten about this. This is a little bit better of a decision then, because he hadn't done these checks already. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when we talk about off the beaten path, right? Hitsu probably doesn't even need any like rows or anything. He just has his like own like ATV. He just carves his own path to whatever he wants to do.
Well, I mean, it's making sense. Like I don't have any like except for like I don't think anything he's done has been objectively bad. And like he's definitely worked out for him here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, did we see bumper ledge? I don't remember.
I want to say no, because I think Hitsu just went straight south after Skullwoods, and then this is kind of Aries' first foray into Skullwoods. So this is going to be good news for him. He's going to be able to pick up his bow, assuming he goes back. And then I imagine Aries, because he's already gone south to the village of Outcast, he'll probably make a north dark world, since he does have the. Oh no, he does have the mirror. Never mind. Maybe he'll just do a quick bumper check, and then go further south again.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm actually. Is Eri gonna do this fight? He might. We might see.
Oh yeah, you're right. He has a sword now.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
I mean he's got. I mean these are items we haven't seen, and this first check here was. Oh wow, so Eri's so confident in this fight. I guess he does have half magic. Excuse me, he's got half magic and blue mail, so this fight isn't quite as bad as you might think. Although you don't have a ton of magic to spare, Eri.
It's like the walk and take another one for good measure.
Yeah, but I mean, Eri's got the skills and execution to pull this off for sure. So, but yeah, it'll be. So we're gonna be seeing a relatively low percent. He does pick up the heart, which is smart. I do like that move. But this is gonna be a relatively low percent moth fight, so this should be interesting. Doesn't even stop to pick up the extra magic refill on the side. So
yeah, he is. He's more than confident. Of course, regardless of how good of a skill player you are, Mothula still can sometimes be a jerk. He's definitely claimed the lives of many a top runner.
He's actually given Eri a really good pattern so far. He hasn't hugged the spikes like at all.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Wow,
well,
that is good job, Eri.
Well done by Eri, but yeah, he did get a little bailed out in the beginning there. Wow, it is rewarded with the Eastern Palace key. All right, so not that Eri was ever out of this game, but that's definitely a solid because he's going to be picking up that bow. But I suspect Eri will probably go to Eastern and clear that before Pod, and so he won't be able to like mirror from Pod. So that's maybe not as good as it seems on like the first the first look of it. But yeah, still very nice. I'm really curious to see what is going to be in this chest that that Hitsu skipped in the front of Skullwood, the back of Skullwoods here. Oh, wow. Oh wow. All right, so the back of Skullwoods is just more like big keywoods.
Yeah, I mean, so this actually might change Eri's routing a bit. I mean, he's really going to be very happy picking up the bow in the front of Skullwoods, but with the big key to Thieves Town, maybe he'll just go and clear. He doesn't have the hammer, but he also doesn't have the small key. So I don't know like how much that's going to weigh on his mind if he wants to do
he'll
FaceTime
get,
like now rather than
I believe
later.
there is a pod small key in Eastern, if memory serves. So I think the problem is the only way to get to pod right now is the flipper route through the Dark World, unless you're going to do like a bomb jump on the top of, or I guess you could get there from the top of the Dark World. So he might actually, like, I don't know, like if you're Eri, the thought of going all the way over to pod from the top of the Dark World versus like going to Eastern when you've got that bow that you just picked up, I'm curious to see where he's going to go. I could see justifications either way.
Oh yeah. Oh. Eri didn't like that bomb placement the first time, decides to throw it in the pit, of course, and so it's just 10 arrows. So Hitsu's not going to be missing anything for the big cube skull woods there.
All right, so we've got Hitsu is making his way up into Death Mountain here. He'll be able to access this, and then he just gets dead rocks. He'll be able to access this Tower of Hera here. Now, I believe Hitsu does not have the big key for this dungeon.
Hitsu, I think, picked up the big key to Hera. I think both of them picked up the big key and the small key.
I'm trying to remember the big key was. It could be just the tracker's not updated. I know sometimes it gets a little fussy. All right, so shovel.
Yeah, for picking up hopefully a lucky shovel for him as well. Looks like he is going to do Tower Room first. You know, he has that early small key, probably indicates that there is something here. And as you said, Files, we do have a fire source, so this is going to be fully accessible.
Yeah, I do like this play from Hitsu. In all dungeons, key sanity. I think the incentive to skip Hera basement is maybe smaller than it is in other modes, just because there's so many more. You know, like we haven't found any of like the castle tower small keys. Like there's so many things that you need in this game that I think skipping stuff is less useful here. So meanwhile, we see some great tech from Eri there, walking to Eastern Palace with the fast stair speed, hitting 3 buttons all in the same frame.
Eri probably knows a thing or two about getting to Eastern.
Yeah, he's played this game a couple of times, I think. May or may not be like what, top 4 NMG,
something like that. All right, okay. All right. Yeah. So
well, that big key, was that Ice Palace?
That was ice. Yeah. So that's going to be actually really nice. I think also there is did we also get a small key to Ice Palace at some point as well? So that's going to be really nice routing for both these runners when they get there. And of course, you know, Ice Palace being fully accessible and in logic. We have the flippers, we have the mitts, and we have the fire rod in order to get past that first door.
Wow, it's so funny. There's like a million ways to set up Hera Pot when you don't have boots, and like I don't think I've ever seen that exact way before either. So like it's really always interesting to see what like there's people that just like straight up buffer into a frame and then are into a pixel setup and bomb themselves there. There's a 2 bomb setup where you use 1 bomb to push you into one spot and then drop another bomb. Like it's always interesting to see like how people decide to do it. So
yeah, and of course, you know, to each his own, right? So long as the setup works for you and you can get there, you're definitely going to save time. And meanwhile, so all right, so we did have confirmation that Hitsu did pick up the big key to Hera. There was only a heart piece in the big chest, so certainly nothing lost if Eri doesn't end up getting it. We also did pick up our first bottle with some blue potion, so that'll be really nice.
Alright, Wildor not giving Hitsu much trouble here. All right, so we've got medium levels of excitement from the Tower of Hera here. It is 1 crystal in the bank. So at 32 minutes, Hitsu does pick up his first crystal.
Yeah, and certainly at least it seems like the most interesting thing that we ended up picking up from Hera was that Ice Palace big key. So, you know, when these guys go over there, they can just fully clear ice and they don't have to, you know, worry about leaving another item behind. You know, one of the worst items that you can orphan in ice is that Ice Palace big chest, right? Because it takes so long to get back to.
Yeah.
So these guys definitely won't have a problem today.
It's like of all the unnecessary big keys like to pick up, you're never like especially sad to see the Ice Palace one, just for all the reasons you mentioned. Unless you've already been to Ice Palace, I guess. Then you're sad to see it.
Yeah, meanwhile, Eri is, I think, having a slightly easier time with Dark Rooms, just mainly he has that sword as a guidance. But yeah, he is just tearing up this dungeon, you know, with the boots, you know, and he's pretty adept with this bow here, as I said. So he's gonna be able to take out Armos, hopefully relatively quickly. Oh.
Yeah, it's just fire rod.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he did use the fire rod, which is, I think, the correct choice for the back of Eastern there. So, you know, definitely the safer way to clear that room. Gets himself set up for the Armos. Looks solid, just a solid, solid quick kill Armos there.
All right, and yeah, Eri also the first of our two runners picking up our first pendant. I don't think we actually knew that, but
nope.
You know, we know that now. Even though we had like a million maps.
Yeah, we're getting down to a lot of map locations known here. We got, I think, one more pendant unaccounted for. We already know the 5-6 crystals thanks to the bomb vendor check. So I think it's either desert or turtle rock is either the last pendant or a normal crystal. So.
All right, yeah. Okay. So Eri looks like he is going to go back to the Dark World, maybe, or maybe not. Oh, that's right. He just picked up the bottle. Wait, when did he pick up the bottle?
There was a bottle. I wasn't positive, but I was pretty sure that the bottle in Hera was not, in fact, the first bottle. But I wasn't I could not remember where it was, so I wasn't gonna step on your toes.
All right, okay, no worries. If that's the case. I definitely missed where Eri picked up his first bottle as well then. But yeah, that was a nice convenient check. Yeah, I was just gonna say that, you know, so Eri doesn't have the mirror, so he has to kind of do this the second time going around. You know, and also without that hammer, this is kind of his one and only Darkhold access without Aga.
Yep, so Eri... So this is a little bit dangerous for Eri because we know the hammer is in pod, and on top of that, we don't even have the small key to get to that chest anyway. So I think Eri is just thinking, you know what, I can get the back of Thieves Town done, you know, even though I'm missing both of those items, so I'm just gonna do it. So he is choosing to orphan that location. Time will tell if that ends up being valuable or not. This play does make sense, you know, because he can get this done, you know, before he has to, like, decide to swim to pod or something like that, so. And, of course, in Eri's mind, that's hammerless pod. You know, we know that all the goodies are in pod, but Eri doesn't know that. Yeah,
hammerless, mirrorless pod, right? Who really wants to go there? Well, apparently, both the hammer and the mirror are also in pod, yeah, as you just said. But yeah, you know, and it's, in fact, like, orphaning this... orphaning this check in the big key in the Thieves Town big chest, right? It's really only gonna hurt Eri if Hitsu ends up finding the small key later, and there's something else there, right? Because if Hitsu ends up doing the same thing, it's gonna be a zero-sum game, right? Or zero net loss for both these runners.
Yeah, definitely. Meanwhile, we've got a icebreakerless Ice Palace here from Hitsuyan. Now he does have, not only does he have the Ice Palace big key, but he does have one small key to make Icebreakerless Ice Palace a little faster to clear. So yeah, we're gonna be seeing some old school Ice Palace here with fast ice with that extra small key. So I do like this play from Hitsu. I mean, again, with all dungeons key sanity, you know, the goal is to beat all the dungeons. So if you've got one you can do in a time that's reasonable to do it, you know, even though you don't have the cool trick that'll save you a minute or two in here. You know, for all we know, the Canis Mario could be buried deep in Ice Palace here, so it makes sense.
Yeah, as you said, we definitely don't see Hitsu being shy of going into dungeons where if you have something that'll make that dungeon a little nicer, you know, you tend to put it off, right? You know, for example, we saw Hitsu went straight for pod without the mirror or without the hammer, and he was rewarded. Hopefully finding something similar here in Ice Palace.
he recovers the bomb and still tosses it down. Thanks to Icebreaker, this is definitely a section of Ice Palace that is a little less practiced, as you can see. So Yeah, sometimes you'll see runners being a little rusty with their Ice Palace bomb jump setups and what have you.
Files, I think we missed a blind fight or something on Aries' side.
I mean, there's nothing important to talk about there because the fight isn't particularly well scripted. So.
Oh, okay, all right. So Ari was just doing everything on the fly. I got it.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way to predict any of the movements of that boss fight. It's 100% improvisation. Meanwhile, I forgot that Hitsu still doesn't have a sword. A lot of people,
right.
myself included, will use Link's shadow and the position of the sword's pixel to line up their Ice Palace bomb jumps. So having to do that on the fly, depending on what setup you're used to, especially a setup that you don't do as often anymore, thanks to new cheating tech, is definitely kind of interesting to see.
I thought it was innovative tech, Files. Innovative shiny
No,
tech.
I'm on Team Dunko with this one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but his, of course, does it very nicely on the second try. He certainly does seem very familiar with his lineups as well.
Yep, and that small key that he picked up, again, letting him just take that first door over here. So again, this is the fast version of doing the Samario-less Ice Palace check here.
All right. Meanwhile, Ari's gonna give us a.
Yeah, we got a lot of new checks. A lot of new checks here going.
Doing the mirror bonk here, so you can get a quick warp back if he wants it. But my guess is that
Ari deciding to pick up the free fairy in a bottle. Why not?
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna go straight to pod since or pyramid, maybe a small detour along the way. But yeah, from Ari's perspective though, he's already cleared a lot of the stuff. Pod is probably going to be one of his most dense locations at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't really a whole lot left to do if you're Ari, to be honest with you. But again, with the pile of Palace of Darkness small keys he's got to be thinking that there's something in here. So Hitsu setting up yet another bomb jump without a sword does get it. So the price of failure for that particular bomb jump is you just kind of have to go the long way around the bottom. So it's just a little bit more time punishing. So, but he'll be able to get to the Ice Tea room here in Ice Palace about as quick as you could hope. And is rewarded with a new fancy shirt. So, Hitsuyan adhering to SpeedGaming guidelines and, no shoes, no shirt, no randomizer. So we're all set up here.
Yeah, especially considering if he goes down to Cold Stare, that red mail will be certainly very nice to have.
Yeah, actually, you bring up a good point. I keep forgetting. Apparently, I'm an old man, Clear Mouse.
You are not old.
I got the brain thing going, and I keep forgetting that he does not have a sword, so he's gonna have to hammer Fire Rod Cold Stare to death. Yes. And he's only gonna have half of Magic Meter to do it because he'll have to use 8 Fire Rod shots just to open the Cold Stare cage. So.
Yeah, in order to, so normally we see a lot of runners do, right, is after they break Cold Stare's initial shell, right, they, use their sword spin or something to get the puffs in the corner and hopefully get a lot of, simultaneous hits along the way. So that's not really kind of an option here for Hitsu. So he's going to have to be, a bit more careful with his resources.
I got to point out before we look at this Cold Stare fight from Hitsu, the Ari had the incredible heads-up play to instantly quick swap to the mirror he picked up in the Palace of Darkness basement.
Nice,
that was clever. Meanwhile, Hitsu just fire rotting the absolute crap out of the first Cold Stare puffs just to make this room a little safer. So, yeah, getting work done there. That makes the third puff a little bit slower. You gotta hunt him down to hammer him, but he does get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, only... Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was gonna say, this Ice Palace has not been particularly fruitful for Hitsuyan, unfortunately. I mean, he got it cleared and he got a crystal done, but...
He did pick up red mail, which I believe actually came in handy for this Cold Stare fight.
Yeah, and again, the Ice Palace big chest ended up not having, anything super useful, so. So yeah, Ari's going to very shortly find his hammer and be like, well, crap, I didn't, I should have came here a while ago, even though it maybe didn't make the greatest amount of sense, but.
Yeah, speaking of getting items exactly right after you would like them, Hitsu's gonna pick up his first sword.
If only I had came here before Cold Stare. It's crazy that you know, first sword, you know, 43 minutes into the seed, you know, we've already got 2 dungeons cleared.
Yeah, and actually, so see, even though Eri has found both his goodies, you know, the hammer and mirror in pod, neither runner still has the big key, so this is gonna be a double dip, you know, on both the runner side to come back to pod.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Hopefully,
I suspect the key will probably be like, you know, hammer or mirror locked, so force double dip kind of thing.
Yeah, speaking of which, I guess I'm curious to see if either runner is going to go visit Graveyard Ledge, because, you know, I think, I want to say at least Aria's done King's Tomb, but at this point, that item might be somewhat isolated unless they consciously go back and visit.
All right, so let's see. You know, that we had gotten the information from the bomb vendor. Okay, Eri having a problem. Eri's problem with bomb drops here, but you know, instantly recognizes it because he's done it a bajillion times. He's like, I'm not gonna wait and fail this. I'm just gonna bail and set this up again. But yeah, I had forgotten that. I mean, we had this information from the bomb vendor, but we did have the first 2 crystals that Hitsuyan cleared. Were crystals 5 and 6. We are gonna get a relatively early Fat Fairy check, and it is not useful.
Yeah, I think that I mean, this is going to be pretty efficient for Hitsuya. He has the mirror. I assume this is going to be, yeah, front of escape, you know, uncle check, and maybe even a check into Castle Tower. We do have the first. We don't have any Castle Tower small keys, but but we are able to get this first chest here in Logic.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit when the Hera clear was going on, but you know, we still have not seen any of the 2 required Castle Tower small keys. So, I mean, I guess it wouldn't be a League All Dungeons match if we weren't like waiting around looking for Castle Tower small keys.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, actually, you know, for 80 keys, it's actually potentially nicer, you know, when you go visit Lumberjack, that you do see something required. You know, maybe like, you know, like Hammer or like Mids or King of Samaria, because, you know, if something's required there, chances are the Castle Tower small keys are going to show up sooner rather than later.
Yeah, definitely. All
right, okay, so we had to get our first sword from the hobo, which apparently stole this from our uncle, and instead we get a... Okay,
yeah,
well...
you can't wield a Skullwood small key to defeat your enemy's Clear Mouse.
Yeah,
I've tried, it doesn't work, it's too small.
It's, yeah, I mean, yeah, clearly we need the big key for that, right?
Well, even then, it's hard to grip. You know, it's not counterweighted. You know, very awkward to use. I would rather have the fighter sword.
Yeah, we could definitely use the fighter sword. Much nicer.
All right, so yeah, Eri finishing up. He'll be entering Hera here. I suspect he'll do the same thing. I don't see much of a reason for Eri to put off like Hera basement at this point, and you know, unless he's feeling like behind from that late pod check. But yeah, I suspect we'll be seeing a full clear from him on this.
Yeah, and you know, the fact that Eri is coming up here a second time, you know, he's already done Spiral Cave. Actually, I was gonna ask if he has an invincibility item with him, because like one thing that we didn't see Hitsu check when he was also up here was Spike Cave, and I know that Hitsu picked up a cape from somewhere. I just don't quite remember where it was.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've actually been I cannot remember exactly where the cape was. I've been watching Eri's quick swaps to see if if the cape was gonna show up, but I keep getting distracted by chat or Hitsuyan's screen when some of the things are going. So, oh, that's right. Cape was in the swamp. Thank you, our excellent tracker, pointing that out. Yeah, so Cape was in first chest swamp, which is ridiculous. So, but Eri does have that fairy in a bottle. So depending on his heart recovery situation, I mean, he could go straight there after Hera with a heart refill from that, and he would have enough hearts to just man mode his way through you know, all the Spike Cave stuff. So
yeah, no, that's certainly a really good point. And so right, so I think then the only kind of like last items then that are available we haven't seen in the mountain. Yes, what's up, Files?
Oh, Quake at the bottom of Escape.
That
is our Turtle Rock entry requirement, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty important. A good thing we picked up that fighter sword, that we can actually use the Quake medallion to actually get into the dungeon.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it doesn't do them a whole lot of good right now unless they're gonna hover like madmen. But you know, we'll want that Canis Maria eventually. But
I would not put it past either of these two runners if they thought that could gain them an advantage.
if any of them do that, I'm just gonna have to make fun of them because that is objectively a terrible decision. But I mean, I guess why not? Hitsuyan, in a vain attempt to quick swap to the mirror, does put an arrow into that poor chest. So rip that chest.
Maybe he was just unhappy at the fact that you don't give him a heart piece instead of like a heart container or something. But yeah,
that's
I mean,
certainly possible.
All right, yeah. As we were watching, you know, Hitsu stab another chest with that arrow, we see also Eri taking down Moldorm relatively quickly. So I believe both runners had a pretty fast Moldorm fight there.
So Hitsuyan making his way back over here. We'll be doing a King's Tomb check, and then we'll also take that mirror, and he'll be able to check out the Graveyard Ledge, which will be another check we haven't seen. Meanwhile, Eri kind of doing what we were talking about here. He's getting dashes in between some of those spike hits, which I like. But yeah, he'll revive with that fairy in a bottle here. Meanwhile, Hitsu showing off the bonk over the mirror portal. Very nice.
One of the few times you actually want bonks, you know, on your count record at the end.
All right, all that hard work that Eri just put in, destroying his body for our entertainment, and he's only rewarded with a plastic shield. Okay, so the thief sounds small. That's actually pretty big news.
It is.
Remember, Eri went into Thieves Town and completed it sans hammer and sans small keys, so it could be, if that chest has something important, Eri could be in trouble because Hitsu has not made the time to go over there yet.
Yeah, and especially with the way that Hitsu has routed and completed, you know, made his progression, right? He hasn't done and cleared out Skull Woods, which we know in the back of Skull Woods is where the Thieves Town Big Key is. So, you know, once he goes in there and clears that, he's going to be in a very good position, as you said, Files, to be able to actually full clear everything in Thieves Town, including getting the big chest.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. What I thought was gonna happen when Hitsu went to Stroud is I thought he was going to do Catfish and then go over to do the Graveyard Ledge King's Tomb and then actually go into Skull Woods is kind of what I thought he was doing, but I don't know if he changed his mind or forgot about Catfish or how he's routing this, but all right, so Hitsu, unlike Eri, says fairy in a bottle, get me out of here, gross,
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah,
so it looks like he's planning to end on Zora then, would be my guess.
Of course, another also very convenient heart refill there on Hitsu's side, because we know that Zora is going to be very dangerous on 11 hearts and red mail.
Yeah, meanwhile, we're seeing Eri making his way through Ice Palace here. Perhaps a little bit more practiced on this route.
I believe the tech known as Icebreaker is not allowed in NMG, so Eri probably has a lot more practice than Hitsu does at this point. Also in general for the Ice Palace ball jump.
Yeah, NMG knows what's up. I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
But also, as you said earlier, Files, you know, Hitsu came in here without a sword, so Eri, you know, with that sword in hand, you know, certainly does have is more familiar with his Ice Palace bomb jump lineups as well.
Yeah, we get to see the two nice bomb Pengators set up there.
So pretty.
Alright, Hitsu, where are you going? Is he heading over to
This might be
Skull Woods?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that'll get him his Thieves Town big, so you know, both of these runners are kind of doing dungeons that their counterparts had also done, so yeah, turning in the bottle first. So yeah, we're going to be seeing kind of a bunch of checks, you know, again, that each other runner had already done. So I mean, I guess we could kind of take stock of the game, Clear Mouse. There's still a lot of items unaccounted for. I mean, we've got Canis Maria, potentially another medallion for Swamp Entrance, much less the flute that we need to get over there. There's certainly several keys that we're missing as well. We don't have a lick of anything from Turtle Rock except for, I believe, one small key.
Yeah, and of course, this being, as you said, 80 keys. And most of the time, we're just kind of looking for that ice rod hunt. In 80 keys, we've got like 12 ice rods that we're on the hunt for. Those
12 metaphorical ice rods. To be clear.
Oh yeah, so yeah, we didn't actually duplicate 12 actual ice rods.
You could have one. You could like have one in between each finger and a couple between each toe. On that's a lot of ice rod shots. Every time you use it, it takes away 2/3 of your magic meter.
Yeah, I was gonna say, good thing they have half magic, so maybe there's like a quarter magic item too, right, somewhere.
not in these settings, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's still quite a, at 53 minutes in, there's still quite a few items that we are looking for sure. So honestly, it's a lot of these dungeons have been not very fruitful. I mean, Skull Woods did have a key into Thieves Town, but Thieves Town itself didn't have too much, if memory serves, and Ice Palace had essentially nothing. Or at least if it did, it was such a small part of the puzzle that I didn't notice it because again, I'm an old man. Don't know where I am.
No, Files, you're in a good spot. No, I think the only real thing of note from Ice Palace was that red mail, and certainly at this point, both runners aren't going to turn it down, especially if it's in the way. But it's more of a luxury item and nice to have for quality of life rather than
exactly. And with Mirror, it's not like they're caring about like death orbs or anything like that. So, worth noting that Eri is going to have a sword for this Cold Stare fight, so it's going to look a lot different than Hitsuyan said. He'll be able to get a setup. Does get the left side Cold Stare setup a little faster if he can get it.
Alright. Wow. Yeah.
All right, he does get it with the last fire rod shot. Does get the job done.
Alright, yeah. Meanwhile, Hitsu's going to fall. Randomizer does take a little bit of delay there to make sure he doesn't get wall mastered in the 1.0 version. They can start all the way from the beginning. But now, with the hammer in hand, he's going to have a little bit easier time, fighting off Moth.
Yeah, 4 hits will do it.
Did.
And, again, we have similar Moth RNG, but the top-down hammer hits are harder to hit. So Hitsu still does have a faster Moth fight, but Ares went relatively fast, all things considered as well. But yeah, definitely props to Hitsuyan for getting that hammer Moth fight in. All right, where are you going, Ari? If this is first check of Swamp, I'm gonna be disappointed. All right.
Looks like he's going somewhere else.
Is it Fat Fairy maybe?
Yeah, it could be. I was gonna say
he could do what Hitsu ended up doing and do the Fat Fairy into, escape kind of thing.
Oh, Ari also making sure he has enough bombs. That is some really nice routing as well.
I'm not gonna lie. Every time I've wanted to buy bombs, I've been so afraid of the A button. You have to press for getting bombs at canceling the big bomb. I didn't even know you could get the big bomb first and then buy bombs. I learned something new today, Clear Mouse.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're gonna learn anything, it's probably gonna be from Ari today, right? Oh man, so
we didn't get to see. Yeah. We didn't get to see what Bumper Ledge was.
So given that Hitsu does have the cave and he didn't go after it, I'm just gonna assume that it wasn't anything important. yeah,
you are correct. But yeah, it would have been nice to know what it was. The green rupee count must be maintained. All right, so yeah, the Fat Fairy chest not particularly useful. Are we gonna put his portal down here? Because I don't believe he's checked Uncle yet. Yep.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that also, after Thieves Town, probably Hitsu is going to do his South Shore loop. I think also we didn't really see that on Ari's side. We only saw the blacksmith turn in from Ari because he didn't have the mirror at the time. So presumably after, we're going to get a new check from Hitsu on the Thieves Town big chest, and then we're also going to get some more mirror checks, as he makes his way further south.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, Hitsu is going to be, wow, he gets the God Pixel in the Hellway. Very, very nice. Hitsu is going to be seeing a couple more checks, as you mentioned, that we haven't seen from Ares since he kind of did them earlier with less equipment. We're going to be seeing Thieves Town basement chest, which could be very relevant because that was something Ares had to skip, and we could be seeing purple chest, as you mentioned, just assuming he continues to follow this Dark World loop. So Those are both definitely items to keep an eye out for because they could be, big points of differential between these two runners.
Yeah, and also, as you said earlier, we are missing quite still a large number of progression items. Not only, both in terms of actual items, like Y items, and keys. So, we're kind of quickly running out of locations still available to us in Logic. And not only actually just hard acquire things, right? Like the flute, or like the King of Samaria, or like the ice rod. We also don't really know where that lamp is, right? These runners have actually done quite a large number of dark rooms already.
Yeah, you're right. I had forgotten that was.
That was.
I mean, once you have a fire rod and you have a fire source. All
right. Okay, well that's good for the Hitsu's knowledge at least.
I guess that answers that. Wow. Okay. Well,
this actually
question
could be
answered, I guess.
Yeah. Well, this could be actually quite a bit interesting, right? Because everything that we've done up to the mountain at this point, right, at least from Aries' perspective, is not in Logic, right? We don't have the flute yet, and we don't have the lamp. So at least from his perspective, given that he just found the lamp, right, he has more knowledge implications. Potentially for if he needs to suss out some more items or like locations for where he wants to go.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just the lack of super interesting items up there has made it, things get real murky when you try to track like spheres and what is not in Logic, especially in all dungeons key sanity seed. It's kind of easy to lose track unless you're really on top of it. Just because there's so many like items in there, it's like sometimes it's hard to keep track of. But maybe that's just for me. But either way, Hitsuyan does pick up his blue boomerang, does take care of blind.
What was it, a scripted fight just like Aries side?
Well, no, Aries' blind fight was 100% unscripted.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Hitsuyan on the other hand had the exact same thing.
Yeah. Also exactly off script, right? Actually, and one thing to note is that Hitsu did not actually have his original fire shield to kind of combat blind with some potential extra safety because it was stolen to him from a picket when he was in Skull Woods.
Oh yeah, that's right. I had forgotten about that. I mean, who cares, right? Like the.
Oh yeah, certainly these guys are going to.
I mean, like the only place that's really useful is sometimes blocking the spear throw from the guy like right in front of Swamp Palace. But like, yeah, most runners do not care too much about that.
Oh, all right. Ooh. This is gonna be a pretty nice pickup here for Hitsu.
Yeah, so this is an item that Eri did not have access to the first time he went down here, because again, he did not have that hammer. So a hammer and mirror is definitely paying off for Hitsu here for this routing. That early pod checking, just kind of paying off for him. All right, we did get a glimpse at what was in Bumper Cave, Clear Mouse. It was just a red ruby.
Yeah, you definitely called it for money, Files. All right, so this is at least going to be good news for Eri. Well, good enough news, I guess. Maybe at least from our side. He's going to pick up his Thieves Town small key. Eri's probably not going to be riveting to go back to Thieves Town. But we know we only have the lamp, so Eri is more than capable of being able to do dark rooms. Certainly, though, if he chooses to go back, his Meyer life will be a little bit nicer as well in this pod. But certainly, it's not going to really do anything other than probably slow him down a bit.
Yeah, I'm just I can't. What would be really interesting for Eri, as you mentioned, going back into Thieves Town for that lantern will be a temptation because he doesn't know it was a lantern, but there's just so many other things he could be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume that he'll check. But see, the thing is, if you want to do the Thieves Town, okay, wow, so K45. Oh, okay, the GT big key, that is something that we need. I can't remember if Eri already had that, but it's news to me, Clear Mouse.
Oh, is Eri going back in?
He is.
Wow! I was already just thinking. I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if Eri just
goes, if you want to,
without the lamp.
It's all dungeons keys, Clear Mouse. Like, if you want to do, if he's planning on taking that purple chest down, like he can't carry the purple chest with him into, into Thieves Town. So you pretty much have to do this first. So I mean, his instincts are correct. This is technically required by the logic. It's just that, you know, the lantern is less useful for him. All right,
Yeah,
Ares does
still...
get the God Pixel on the Hellway after a minor adjustment, but he still picks it up. Very nice.
Eric remembering that he just needs to hit the switch this time. He's probably done this once or twice.
Yeah, the muscle memory. Wow, did he use the mirror?
Yeah, he did!
The
Oh, yes! Go, Eri!
All right, so we've got ourselves a purple chest heart container, so nothing major there. Is this the first time we've seen Agina from both runners?
This is the first time, yes.
Is this a 1 hour plus Agina check?
Frankly, I'm just happy that Hitsu decided to come over here, because sometimes I have heard him say that if it's a Sphere 1 location he hasn't visited by now, he's not going to visit it because he's already lost the game if something's here. Well, alright, so we may or may not need that. We don't know what Meyer entry is, because we don't have the flute in order to kind of go take a peek, but with that Bombos pickup, Hitsu no longer has to worry about anything else.
Yeah, I'm actually, I think the most hilarious thing that could have been, in my eyes, would have been the flute. Oh, but Bombos acceptable. So Ares is going to pick up his Canis Samari here. He'll be taking that purple chest down. He has not gone into the first check in Swamp, so I'm wondering if he'll be considering that at this point. Because I mean, after a certain point, we're running out of checks.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Hitsuyan is going to be going back into Eastern here. Despite what the tracker says, I don't believe he's been back in here after he got the big key. So he'll get the big chest and Armos done in here.
Yeah, and as you said, Files, you know, for Eri to go into to check the first chest in Swamp, I think is actually very reasonable, right? Because, you know, as you also did say, we don't have very many in logic locations left to go, right? I mean, so like picking up that King of Samaria, and we have the Fire Rod, and we have one Turtle Rock Smoking, we actually can make some progress into Turtle Rock itself, though not much. But it's not really attractive, right? Because that means you have to make another mountain trip up.
Yeah, I mean, and climbing the mountain is not a insubstantial amount of time. All right, what is a substantial amount of time though is mirror walking onto some of the bushes there. It wouldn't be speed techniques if you waste more time trying to set up the trick than you do actually executing on it. So
we save frames but lose minutes. I understand.
Exactly.
Alright, for first try dig for Eri there. Also very practiced from MG.
We're just calling out every poor little mistake this man is doing. Get good, Eri.
Go, Eri, go.
Meanwhile, Hitsuyan making his way through Eastern Palace here. We'll have a relatively quick Armos fight.
Yeah, speaking also of luxury of life items, so we also do need another sword to complete the game, but where are these rest of the swords? We're still on Fighter Sword, you know, after we took our visit from our friend Hobo, and we haven't seen anything else since.
Well, is he really their friend if he killed Uncle?
Yeah, no, that's true.
Hitsu had a pretty good setup going, but did miss one of the arrows there, so... that's all right, but it's still the fast kill for Armos is like it does save you seconds, but even if you mess it up, it doesn't cost you like a ton of time in the grand scheme of things.
I didn't know that the bomb had such a large hitbox there for Gina's side.
Oh yeah, well the hard part about that tech is starting your dash at the right time, which is why you tend to see most runners doing the like hold the bomb above your head and just kind of push down, you know, once it goes off, because it's about as fast as you can do it. So, all right, well, and after an hour and 7 minutes, we've got runners on the same screen again, but heading in different directions.
Yeah, so maybe this is going to be a spike cape check for Hitsu. And meanwhile, you know, Eri, since he's already made that check, so one of the only things left for him up here in the mountain, because they don't have the book, is going to be Turtle Rock.
Yeah, I mean, I suspect Hitsu might be thinking of Turtle Rock as well, because they both have Canis Samaria and one Turtle Rock small key. Now, you usually don't like going into Turtle Rock with only one small key, because it only means, you know, with Fire Out, I guess that gives you access to 4 checks, which is not terrible, but even one more small key will open up several more options. So But I mean, you know, small keys for their respective dungeons are never actually in their own dungeons, right? That never happens. So
of course not. We didn't see that in pod today at all. No way. So Hitsu actually picking up the last progressive shield from Spike Cave puts him right back at Mirror Shield, so he is not afraid of any more pickets stealing his defensive items in front of him.
Yeah, the quote-unquote progression shield.
Yeah.
not technically in logic anymore, but still useful. I guess if you don't have the boots, it's probably faster to use the shield than to sit there and time the laser bounces, but yeah, I'm real curious to see what's in Turtle Rock, because it looks like both these runners have, you know, after all this divergent routing, you know, after an hour and 8 minutes, they both end up in Turtle Rock with one small key to see what's in here.
Yeah, I mean, poor Eri. I didn't quick swap over fast enough.
You still have to menu there just to be able to get that done. I don't think quick swap is fast enough, but I'd love to be proven wrong if you're like inhumanly fast. All right, so there's a required sword.
Oh. All right.
Well, there's only
back down we go.
Yeah, and honestly, if you're Eri at this point, like, do you even want to find another Turtle Rock small key? Because it means you have to go even further when you know you need yet another small key and the ice rod. So, I mean, checking these two chests here, so this chest and what? Oh, okay. All right. I thought that was going to be a Turtle Rock. I guess the key count didn't move on the dungeon. I should have known it, but yeah. So doing the chain chomp, you know, chest up here is not a particularly hard check. But if that ends up being a Turtle Rock small and you have to like keep going, it's just a lot of time spent.
Yeah, certainly. You know, at least given that the swamp small key is up here, you know, for Eri to not check the first chest in swamp when he was down there, like before he climbed it on, was definitely a good decision on his part.
Yeah, we'll save him some time. All right, so that check ended up being a worthless compass. So, all right, well, Hitsu wasn't able to get it with the menu strat either. So, the hook shot to the torch there while you're on the same y-axis is easy to mess up for sure. All right, so Eri taking his newfound swamp small key and is like, get me all up in that swamp.
Yeah, and so, you know, with the hook shot, with the small key to Swamp Palace, and of course, you know, with those nice boosts to make things go a little bit faster, Eri's gonna have no trouble full clearing swamp. I assume he also is also gonna do left side, right? Like, there's not much else for him at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting how divergent the paths were with people finding stuff at different times, and then they're ending up like, you know, I mean, they're a minute apart here. I mean, essentially, because Hitsu is like most likely going to take the same swamp small and head. Yep, I mean, there he goes. He's already trying to quick swap the hammer. So
that's, you know, actually, you actually bring up a really good point. You know, we saw so much difference, you know, from these two runners at the beginning. You know, Hitsu went to pod very early on, got an early hammer, got an early mirror, and right now, really, it's just basically one like Swamp Palace entry away between these two runners.
Yeah, and I bet Eri was a little worried. Oh wow, gross. I bet Eri was a little worried about what the first item in Swamp was going to be, because that is not a check that most people are going to go out of their way to do. So seeing that it was the cape, probably a relief for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, given he already had eyes on Bumper Ledge and he already got his item out of Spike Cave, yeah, he has a zero interest for that cape unless he really, really wants it for some safety at Ganon or something like that.
All right, so yeah, it's the Swamp Palace time. I suspect with this many items missing, you know, like skipping left side swamp seems hard to justify. But if either runner is feeling behind, like I could see it happening, like, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well,
but it doesn't look like it's gonna be happening from Eri. I mean,
yeah.
if you've got Canis Samaria, like you can dive her down this. You know, if you're gonna full clear, do it the fast way, because if you do it now, it just ends up working out a little easier. So.
Looks like we're actually not going to see Diver Down today on Eri's side. Is going to kind of do this more developer-intended method to get the key first, and then kind of go on to left side. Maybe we'll see it on Hitsu's side.
Developer-intended, gross.
Yeah. I mean, we already got to skip at least something in Ice Palace, right? Yeah, we didn't quite see Kano Samaria with Icebreaker, but we did get to see a nice Ice Palace bomb jump.
That's true. Although we still Ice Palace bomb jump, so that was not the developer intended way.
Mm-hmm.
Doing that dungeon either.
It's the NMG intended way.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember the last time I like went down and like, because the way you're supposed to do Ice Palace is like, you basically have to go to the bottom and like flick the switch and then go all the way back through it, like reverse again. Like it's very tedious. So because it's long and tedious, you pretty much never see it in any speedrun kind of game.
Yeah, I do like that hook tech there by Eri to get himself through those blocks. Looks cool at least. I don't actually know if it saves any real time over like the normal like push block method.
Yeah, so doing what Hitsuyan is doing is pretty cool. So you can, if you leave when the when the bomb is basically going off, when you enter the screen after doing the diver down here, it'll flick that crystal switch for you. So, all right, nice diver down setup from Hitsu.
Yeah, well, certainly looks like he does prefer the bomb method, even though he does the Kano Samaria. I think it is pretty much on runner's preference. But yeah, Hitsu does a pretty nice setup here with diver down and hitting that switch, as you said. Probably the fastest way we can do it.
Yeah, it just looks neat.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so nothing in left side swamp, as we saw from Eri's side. He did pick up his another bottle with a fairy in it, so he has even more safety in addition to his like 13 hearts and red mail and mirror shield, of course.
Yeah, mirror shield clearly the most important of all. I don't know what you're talking about. All right, so there's another Turtle Rock small. So that's annoying. Well, I guess it gives them something else to do. Yeah, don't have the big key.
Of all things that we still don't have, I forgot we don't have the swap palace big key. Alright, so if there is something here, I think both runners are going to not be able to get it, so it's not going to be any time loss for either of these guys.
So in terms of like things that have unlocked other things in Swamp Palace, we've got Book of Medora, that Turtle Rock small, and then that Castle Tower is the first of two. That does open up one more chest at the top of Castle Tower. It is kind of amusing that an hour and 15 minutes into this all dungeon seed that we've got, only one of two Castle Tower small keys.
Of course, it wouldn't be 80 keys if we're not searching for at least one Castle Tower small key, for most of the run, of course. I actually don't remember if Eri ended up checking that first chest. I know Hitsu did. I think we just ended up getting something not worth our time, like a compass or something. But with that first Castle Tower small key, maybe Eri will be more incentivized to go back.
Yeah, it looks like Eri going for the double puff grab spin here. Definitely an annoying fight.
Yeah, it would be really nice to be able to have Temper Sword here, because as we're seeing from Eri, he needs 2 slashes to kill this boss with Master Sword, but if he has Tempered, it would just be 1. Unfortunately, not quite getting that Fire Rod hit at the very end.
Yeah.
No. Oh no.
It's the Argus fight of nightmares.
Alright, so
yeah,
so
there's a reason the speed route for the no major glitches vanilla run goes out of its way to get Tempered Sword for this fight, because you can do kind of neat dash poke tech to kill the puffs in one hit. So a little bit harder to do that with Master Sword. So yeah, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can see what Hitsu just did there is where you charge your sword and then go down laterally and try to get 2 puffs killed with 1 spin there. That works very well. But no matter how you slice it, this fight is just kind of tedious with the Master Sword, unfortunately.
I get it. Slicing with the sword, I absolutely got you, Files.
Alright, so we're going to be seeing the first of our 2 tablet checks. Sorry, I almost said the P word there. Alright, so I feel like getting bombs from the Bombos tablet is like pretty lore appropriate.
So what are we going to get from Ether, then, if that's the case?
Ice Rod.
Oh.
Oh, the flute! The flute is on Desert
Did you just see the flute there on Desert? Yeah, so even actually, yeah, after we kind of got bottlenecked, from both runners to get to Turtle Rock there and get the Swamp Palace small key, it looks like we're gonna get some more bottlenecking here. Be able to clear out Desert. Actually, no, we can't even clear out Desert, right?
The seed got real linear, real fast. And
Yeah,
because we already have the desert small, Eri correctly remembers to head straight east.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we have the Desert Palace big key, so we can't actually beat land mode, but we're going to be able to pick up that flute, and then most likely this is going to be another Meyer check. Or
Yeah,
a probably soon Meyer check.
With the flute and Mitz and Mirror, like it's going to be relatively quick here. But as you mentioned, like we do have the Misery Mire big, and there's just, this sea got real linear real fast. I'm real curious to see what else we'll get in desert here. If it's not just a flute, it could be something else. If it's something else, it could get interesting, because then that could give the runners a decision as to what to do. But I feel like Misery Mire being completable is going to be kind of the obvious next stop, I think, for both these runners.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, so like they have the Misery Mire big key, they have the King of Samaria.
Gas tower. Ah, come on.
They have another Misery Mire small key.
If it wasn't already time to go to Misery Mire, I guess the game is saying, hey, have you considered Misery Mire? I know you were thinking of going back into Turtle Rock with only one more small key and no Ice Rod, but have you considered Misery Mire? It's really not that miserable. It's more like Pleasure Mire.
Pleasure. Alright,
that sounds vaguely dirty. Pleasure Mire.
It
sounds like a Las Vegas attraction.
No one wants to go to a mire though. Like the mire is it's like there's no way you can spin a good mire, right?
Well, what if you're into what if you're like a reptile scientist and you want to study alligators and crocs or whatever? Like maybe a swamp is exactly what you want to be going to.
All right.
I'm not here to judge what you do in your free time, except I totally am. All right, so we've got an activated flute here from Eri. And then we're going to be getting into Misery Mire pretty quick. So we're going to be seeing a Mire Shed check. Because Misery Mire is full clearable, and there's still so many items we need. Like we need Turtle Rock big, we need Desert big, we need one more Castle Tower key, we need the Ice Rod. I suspect Mire is just going to get full cleared, and then he'll do Mire Shed and then into Checkerboard Cave and then flute away, depending on what he finds after that. And honestly, Hitsu's going to be right behind him here. All right, well, I'm a big fat liar. Eri is heading toward Mire Shed first, I guess.
Eri also not taking the time or muscle memory to check the medallion because he has all three.
Yeah, why would you?
Thankfully for at least for Eri, right, the fact that he went back to Thieves Down to pick up his lantern, he is going to have a pretty comfy Mire basement as well. Oh wow! Good thing he checked Checkerboard Cave before going into Mire. That Temper Sword is going to be a lot nicer for
I guess I'm a big fat liar. Yeah. I mean, with Cape and Master Sword, like they were already going to be fine, in terms of killing Vitreous. Like there's, but the sword will make it a little faster. So I guess that's one reason to do these checks first.
Yeah, I give him. Oh, did Eri take a peek already? Maybe I just missed it, or maybe he just predicted it was going to be Ether.
Well, if you menu to Ether, then it's only one button press correction to go to either one. So perhaps that's what he was thinking. But either way, we got ourselves a vanilla Misery Mire access here. Hitsuyan doing the same thing. I'm curious if he'll go all the way to Checkerboard Cave before going into Mire. Nope. So he'll be. I mean, again with half magic and Cape, I mean it'll just be a couple extra sword swings. So. Eri's Mire 2, very nice, does get the one cycle Wizrow, but that last Popo RNG kind of got away from him, so we ended up taking a beam right to the face.
Yeah, we certainly talk about Temper Sword being a really strong upgrade from Master Sword. The fact that Eri does have Temper Sword and how experienced he is with NMG, I mean, this is just even more in his comfort level at this point. And having Eri in his comfort level, if you have to play against him, is quite the dangerous feat here.
Ooh, a nice one cycle Mire 2 from. Okay, all right, from Hitsu. Turtle Rock big. So we're one small key away and an Ice Rod away from being able to complete Turtle Rock. But there's still that potential lava chest shenanigans.
That has definitely burned at least one runner so far this week. Having
flashbacks to the last race week. Oh wow, okay.
Hey, all right.
So Misery Mire, more like Turtle Rock Key Mire. It's possible. It would be hilarious and less fun for us if the other Turtle Rock Small Key was also in this dungeon.
And maybe here is just in cutscene chest, right?
It's possible. There's still many checks left in this mire that is, you know, miserable. Good old cutscene chest. Who doesn't love watching their screen shake and then their timer slowly go up while you can't input anything?
Yeah, for 17 whole seconds.
Is it really 17?
Yeah, I think it's 17. Every cutscene is 17
gross.
seconds.
I never counted it. I always just like sit there sad.
Yeah. All right, so we did see our prize at the end is a compass to a dungeon that we are definitely not going back to, especially not Eri, because we already went there twice.
But if we were to go back to it, we would know how many chests
yes.
are in there. So it's good peace of mind. Clear mouse. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So after these guys beat the game, they can reload the ROM up and then check how many chests there are, and the number of things they've gotten in Thieves Town. I understand.
Yeah, exactly. These are the kind of, you know, those are the kinds of peace of minds that let you race without. Okay, I thought that was going to be
Turtle Rock.
Although honestly, awesome. Another pod small is not terrible. 4 is the minimum you need to. Okay, well there's the pod big. Wow, so lots of that's the second big small key pair for the same dungeon in here. What?
Oh wow!
3 big keys in Misery Mire and 2 small keys that are also required.
So we have what, seen only like dungeon items at this point, right? We saw keys and we saw a compass.
Yeah, well I mean they'll be able to mirror and just to finish up here. Okay, I was expecting like
that would have been sick. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I was expecting like the other castle tower small key or some nonsense. I mean, I guess it could still be on Vitreous, right? I think Eri got the spooky there.
I didn't even pay attention earlier when he was coming into Mire the first time. I assume he did.
Yeah, we saw the screen hold for a second there, so it looks like he got it. All right, so Hitsu picking up the magic refill there. I think he's kind of gearing up for having to use Cape and Master Sword for his Vitreous fight, so that does make sense. That's kind of a consideration Eri did not have to make, just based on his... Yeah, Hitsu was a little off on his... Because you gotta have the dash things, the dash clouds up to drop to kind of keep the spooky thing going, so...
Yeah. I assume he still kept spooky, right? Oh wow, nice recovery, Eri, from his NMG. We still have maps outstanding? Jeez. Okay.
Wow,
right,
yeah,
well.
I was gonna say I didn't know we still had maps. But yeah,
okay,
I don't
so
think,
now we
Hitsu did get the backup for the spooky there, so nicely done. All right, so I think we're going to be seeing a quick mirror to finish up Desert here. And then it's going to be, God, you know, Turtle Rock without the ice rod, or going into Agate Tower to do one check without the second castle tower key. Like, welcome to all dungeons keys, baby. Like,
well, so we did pick up the pod big key and along with another pod small key. So I think that's going to be open.
Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry, there were so many keys in that dungeon. I forgot
that's
about, like,
right.
the fourth set. But yeah, I think pod is going to be the way to go here.
Oh, wow, that's a nice pickup there for Eri. He picked up the last Turtle Rock small key, so at least we're not going to have to worry about lava chest today.
Wow, yeah. Well, one less thing to have to worry about, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if we actually pick up the... actually, what is going to be better for land mode to drop? Is it going to be the Castle Tower small key, or is it going to be the ice rod?
I mean, Ice Rod is nice because you could like just complete the dungeon, you know. I guess you'd have potentially another Death Mountain climb, but it would make your path forward very clear, right? Whereas with I guess with Castle Tower you would do the same thing, right? And then you would probably end up going into Turtle Rock anyway. So I think at this point I don't think it really matters that much. I think the the amount of things that these runners have left to do is kind of so small that I think the order of operations won't be, you know, depending on what they find, it'll be pretty straightforward. Because as you mentioned, I think going to pod next is going to be the way to go. They can save scum, the vanilla big key chest if they want to, and just get all the checks in that dungeon done.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, you know, Eri does pick up his next crystal that's required for progression, but that heart piece is not a small key that we're looking for, nor is it the ice rod. Figures.
No, if you throw that key at the fiery head of Trinex, it will not be very effective.
Alright, yeah, unfortunately, you know, like, after picking up that Desert Palace big key, right, Hitsu still hasn't gotten his Temper Sword. Now, he does have the Fire Rod, so he's not gonna be hurting too much, you know, for a Lammo fight here. But still would have been nice to have the Temper Sword, regardless.
Yeah, I mean, he'll pick it up on his way out here. Honestly, I do like the order of operations a little bit more from Hitsu here, because he'll be able to kind of do this all in one swipe instead of having to kind of go up and around again. But in this exact scenario, it did cost him time because the one of the few items that would have been a time save was in Checkerboard Cave, but that's all right. So yeah, I'm gonna be real curious to see what is in the rest of Palace of Darkness here.
All right, so yeah, it looks like Eri is gonna go to Helmasaur first. Maybe? Because the only two checks left here are the Pod Big Chest and Helmasaur himself.
Yeah, I had forgotten that he had that was 5 keys for him. So yeah, he had already checked that chest. So yeah, this is a pretty straightforward. He'll go kill Helmasaur, and depending on what that is, honestly, even if it was Castle Tower or Ice Rod, he would probably go back and check the big key. Yeah, the big key chest. You know, there's really no reason to skip it at this point when you're looking for 2 items. So
long as he remembers to go back and check, I will be happy.
I would assume that he would, but meanwhile, Hitsuyan picking up his Tempered Sword. He'll be happy to see that. Probably wished he had it for the Vitreous fight, but you know, what's she gonna do?
Yeah, you know, it's not like this is the first sword that he picked up right after that, you know, he really would like to have it. You know, like the first one, with the Fighter Sword being on Hobo, and he would have had it, you know, would have been nice to have for Ice Palace.
Yep, indeed. Alright, so we got a turtle room. Eri correctly remembering that he has sword beams, and then let go of the button, and then had to quickly improvise for the turtle room there. Wow, if he had hammer dashed, and he gets the door dash. Wow, if he had hammer dashed into those turtles correctly, I would have been super impressed.
Oh, Hitsu, accurately remembering that we do in fact have the green pen turn in. Turns out it was nothing in this case. I don't actually think I saw Eri turn that in on his side.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I had forgotten about that too. Curious to see. I mean, the fact that it's nothing means it's a little bit of a moot point, but yeah, maybe he'll remember to turn it in afterwards. Maybe he's thinking, like, you know, I have to kill Helmasaur. Oh, there's a key. There's a key.
Too?
Ah! Why is it every time I want it to be the Castle Tower key, it ends up being a gosh darn Misery Mire key?
Actually, so the Misery Mire small key there, right? At least logically indicates that we were supposed to go pick up our Pod Big Key, right? And then beat Pod first, and then go back to Mire and beat Mire.
I mean, either way, the game wants you in and out of Pod so many times.
Yeah.
Pod, you're not wrong, but sometimes I wash my hand of Pod small key logic beyond a certain point, because it gets pretty convoluted pretty fast with 6 keys being available and what you can do to actually clear Pod, you know, in comparison to what the game thinks you need to do. So, but yeah, there's a lot of times, you're right, Clear Mouse, where the game actually intends you to like quadruple dip Pod just based on where the keys are in a all dungeons key sanity seed. All right, so big chest and Pod, nothing. So all we got out of Palace of Darkness finish was just our crystal. So it looks like Eri did remember what you said, Clear Mouse, and is heading over here. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly good, at least for peace of mind on his part, right? He remembers at least sooner rather than later, right? Because it would have been more efficient for him to do what Hitsu did and do this check first. But, you know, at least he's still in the area when he remembered.
All right, so it looks like we got. By the way, nice turtle party room there from Hitsuyan as well. Ended up using the hammer on some of those because he also had full hearts. So here we go. Aries got he's got 4 Turtle Rock small keys and a dream of an ice rod somewhere in Turtle Rock.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of chest density, this is probably the best place to go. So like I don't blame him. This feels like a gamble, but it really isn't. There's just not much else left.
I'm just trying to think
for him to be doing. So
yeah, exactly.
I suspect we're going to see Hitsuyan doing much of the same here.
Yeah,
although I think he's got a little bit more pod cleanup, doesn't he? Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
Oh no worries. Yeah, so his is gonna clear out the rest of pod. He's not gonna find anything useful, and then he's gonna kind of face with the same choices that Eri has. Yeah, and I was actually just trying to thinking like what else Eri has that's not in Turtle Rock, right? So he, as you mentioned, he has the second chest in Castle Tower. Is that kind of it though?
Ether Tablet, which is what I suspect that he's heading toward right now.
That is a very good point. Yeah, just in terms of density, though, is there anything that's like not on the mountain? So we know that the ice rock can't be on pedestal because Turtle Rock is a pendant. Correct.
Yep. So yeah, I guess the.
Oh, it can be a GT. Oh man, what are you gonna do,
yeah.
Miles?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we are terrible.
Oh my gosh, dude, this is.
Pop is the last crystal. Oh man. Yeah, well, it's
what do you do? There's so many things that are open.
Well, he's still doing the ether check, which I think is smart. You know, get the chest or get the check that's outside of here done and finished, and then move on with your play. So this is exactly why I use a map tracker when I play, by the way. But yeah, so Hitsu setting up his bomb jump, so he is going to get the last check in here. I don't remember if he has. I think he has to do the vanilla big key chest in here as well, so he's going to do that real quick.
Yeah, as quick as Hitsu is going to be able to do this. Yeah, but looks like Eri is going to opt to search for the ice rod, not in Turtle Rock first.
Yeah, I mean we've got. There's a lot of stuff to do here. What I suspect will probably happen is Eri is going to do the entire GT basement, so he's going to do the 20-some checks that are down here. And if he doesn't get anything, like you've got the choice between going into Turtle Rock without the ice rod, you know, because once you do Aga 2 and finish, you know, you're put to the pyramids. So you've got to, you know, like it'd be nice to have the castle tower small at that point. So there's definitely lots of considerations here. Whereas, like, if you do find the castle tower small, you might be more inclined to do that Aga 2 fight, you know, just in case it's in castle tower or something. I don't know. They're all bad decisions. But speaking of bad decisions, tile room. Eri, I'm not going to lie. I set up that whole tangent for like a minute just so I could make a bad decision segue. But yeah, he does tile room first like a baller and is appropriately rewarded for it. Good stuff.
Oh man, and I mean this is you know, actually we talked about the seed kind of like bottlenecking, right, at kind of like the 1 hour 10 minute mark where both runners went up to Turtle Rock and found their Swamp Palace small key, and they kind of funneled themselves over into Swamp Palace and Desert and Mire, and now we actually have a huge point of divergence opening up again.
Oh no.
Oh good.
Oh no, that's one thing.
Where,
that's the last freaking thing we want to see. Gross.
Yeah, right, because there's all of Turtle Rock open to find the Castle Tower small key and the ice rod, and there's also all of Ganon's Tower to search. And now, as we just seen, we can go back to Swamp to get that last big chest.
Ooh, wait, small. Is it? Pyramid?
Pod?
Yay!
Oh, nice. all right,
so that might incentivize Eri to. After he finishes clearing down here, like we're basically at this point, it's an ice rod hunt. So you know, no matter what happens in rando, it always comes down to a freaking ice rod hunt.
Yeah, so it's likely maybe that Eri with that Castle Tower small key in hand will just ascend the gauntlet, or will finish Aga 2, because then he could just finish Castle Tower as well. But I guess it kind of depends on when he finds the ice rod.
Yeah, I agree. Eri's path is relatively straightforward at this point. Like he could make a, you know, I guess the cost to making a gamble to just doing the top and hoping it's up there is something you could consider if you felt behind. But like you'd be leaving behind so many chests in the in the Ganon's Tower, circuit. Meanwhile, Eri has to deal with the crappier of the two boomerangs, but he does manage to make make it work.
Alright, Hitsu not doing tile room first, so he's gonna, well, I don't know if he's gonna ever do tile room, but at least he's gonna be making a little bit more progress faster.
Well, depending on where Ice Rod is, that actually is a non-insignificant time save.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
If Ice Rod is in the bottom of GT, Hitsuyan will find it before he goes back to tile room, and that'll minute that he gets back over Eri, which is time he needed to get back. Of course, if Ice Rod is in the Swamp Palace big chest, then we're all sad anyway. So
it certainly would not surprise me if Hitsu just ultimately decides to skip tile room anyway, right? Because maybe this is just something that you think that, well, if I think I'm sufficiently behind Eri, this is going to be a corner that I'm going to have to cut.
Well, Hitsu had a pretty incredible early game with that pot dive he went to. But he definitely slowed down. The choices he made were very reasonable, kind of like what Eri did. But they both ended up hitting that same bottleneck of one small key turtle rock pretty late. So it's hard to tell how behind either runner feels right now. Probably they both feel a little behind would be my guess.
Yeah. I mean,
Eri correctly remembered to check the Ganon's Tower big chest and is rewarded with a rupee that's the same color as the tunic that is there normally in the video.
Yeah. Oh no. Unfortunate.
I'm not gonna lie, Eri's had some hook shot aiming troubles this seed.
Probably just not used to it or something.
Alright, so another GT small. Not insignificant actually, because we had not seen a ton of GT smalls. I mean, they were gonna be fine either way, but all right, a nice ice almost finish.
Oh man, I forgot about the powder and magic fat. So that's one more fetch quest we could essentially still.
Yeah, I guess with no mushroom. Yeah, with no mushroom, fake powder was never on the table. So yeah, they're finding a bunch of gross one-off checks instead of the actual items. So, and with no ice rod in the bottom of GT. Whether or not Hitsu decides to go back and do tile room, which is a very reasonable decision, by the way, Eri's choice to do tile room first will actually have saved him some time. And he remembers to pick up the arrows. Good work. Oh man, this seed.
Yeah, no, this seed has. I mean, I'm even trying to think of like locations where these guys just haven't been. I mean, I would not be surprised if their item counts at the end is just going to be over 200. Because it really does seem like they pretty much full clear the game. Yeah,
I mean, the problem with the count at the end, though, is it doesn't count all the checks that you eyeballed or save scummed that you know about that the game doesn't actually count as checked. So even though you like in your head, you mentally checked off over 200 spots, sometimes the in-game counter just doesn't, it doesn't account for all the stuff that you looked at and didn't pick up. I always thought it would be cool if they could figure out a way to be like, if the check visually loaded in memory, that it was counted as checked or something. But I don't know how complicated that is. I'm not a programmer, so I'm probably talking out of my hind end here.
I know you certainly bring up a good point. Like for example, that library item, right? That both of these runners checked pretty early. We just had 3 bombs. That's not going to get counted, at the very end.
Yep. And if like the GT torch item had been garbage, if it had been like a rupee or something, they would have skipped it, and that would have been something that they would have counted.
I mean, can you speak for them? Like, they only had like 1,000 rupees or something, 2,000 between the two of them, so.
Cash money, dollar bill. The rando does actually allow for an extra digit of rupees just because you end up with so much money all the time. Oh, Eri.
Oh!
That is an uncharacteristic mistake to miss. I gotta say that. All right, so here is Hitsuyan going back for tile room. I don't blame him at all. This is like a real standard, like playing the numbers play. It just in this exact case, it did not work out for him. But yeah, I had not seen. That's not one of the most satisfying things in this game, in my opinion, is land that Canis Mario block and just murdering 3 Wizrobes at the same time. So it always feels bad, man, when you mix that up.
At least Eri had the mirror shield so he could show us that the Wizrobe's beams can be deflected. I guess.
Wait,
you don't see that too often.
You just dug. It's like there's a silver lining in this cloud somewhere. I'm gonna keep digging.
Or
All right, come on, ice rod. That's not an ice rod. That also not a nice rod.
Dude, how many hearts
Man,
are you
what
gonna have?
if Ice Rod is in Turtle Rock? Both these runners are going to spend the entire Castle Tower Aga fight sequence wondering if their opponent dove Turtle Rock first.
Alright. Well,
Wow,
at
silvers.
least we'll have silvers, yeah, for Ganon. They pretty much cleared every other boss that, you know, would potentially benefit from it, so...
Oh wow, here we go. Area was super close. Moldworm kept spinning, so... But yeah, we're basically an entire gauntlet climb differential here between these two runners. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Eri actually got time back from doing Tile Room first.
we don't. We
I got real
don't.
nauseous saying that, Clear Mouse. I can't.
No,
all right.
Miles, just block it out of your memory, and it's just not worth it.
Maybe this excellent Aga 2 fight will cleanse my palate.
That was a really nice triple. Starting off.
I can't tell if that was a triple or not. Oh, Eri went for broke, trying to get the initial hit there against the. Oh, greedy.
Looks like probably will just count as a double, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks
like, actually, I think the second one was the one that didn't count, and the first one might have actually been good.
Oh, all right. Either
way, we've got ourselves a 3-0-2-1. So, honestly, any 4-cycle Aghanim is Aghanim 2 is certainly acceptable. 2 is the dream that you need luck and execution to do, and 3 is relatively common as well. So.
Yeah, certainly, you know, like a nice 2-2-2 Aga 2 cycle or a fight is really nice. You know, to get a double, triple, you also, need some luck, as you said, because if Aghanim gives you a blue ball, then you can't get that triple.
Speaking of luck, those are not super great landmo patterns that Hitsuyan got there. Didn't really have enough magic to just kind of wantonly throw fire rod shots around, so was trying to do the setup. Oh, I forgot that Eri never went in here for the first chest. Oh man, so he spent that entire GT climb wondering if the ice rod was in that very chest. Oh man. And you know, we still got powder, and we still got Swamp Palace big chest in play. Clear Mouse.
Well, I mean, are you going to? I assume after you are no longer on the mountain, you'll do those one-offs before you go back up to the Turtle Rock.
Say.
I hope. I don't know.
That's why the lead that Eri has over Hitsu is not huge. I mean, and some of it could be eaten up by where they decide to go after the climb. Because if the ice rod is not in this exact chest that, or rather the chest that Eri already checked that wasn't there, you know, like it's not, you know, where they go to find this ice rod it might determine who the winner is. You know, Eri's gonna have, you know, a check and a half maybe ahead of Hitsu, depending on how well the rest of his Aga 2 fight goes. Red guard getting away from Eri a little bit there, but does manage to clean it up relatively nicely.
Yeah, and
meanwhile, Hitsu having bomb troubles.
I was gonna say, having the Temper Sword here for the Aga Tower climb is just so much nicer than having it for having a Master Sword.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of places that Ice Rod could be. I wonder, like, I suspect the runners will probably commit to the chest not being in Turtle Rock, just because if they, you know, if it is there, they might just assume that they already lost, you know, not knowing that their opponent did the exact same thing that they did. But, you know, it's really hard to get in the mind of the runners here. Because, you know, getting to the Swamp Palace chest is not trivial. I mean, you got to throw the dam switch, you got all these mirror screen transitions, you got to go through a couple screens in Swamp. I mean, that is not a fast check to do.
Yeah.
And for Powder Bat, you got to travel there, you got to wait for the entire animation.
I can certainly see them doing Powder, the magic back check, right? Because you can just mirror on Pyramid, and they do have the flute, so it is going to be a pretty fast trip back to Kakariko. Yeah, as you said, that Swamp Palace big chest, though, that is certainly more of a time commitment. And given how close you know, these runners are, I mean, these decisions can make or break races.
Yeah, I mean, Eri does have what is essentially an entire Aghanim tower like lead over Hitsu, so he might be able to afford more checks. So what Hitsu needs to do essentially here is, once he gets done with Aga Tower, he basically needs to go like directly to wherever the ice rod is, I think, to have a chance against Eri at this point.
So and then we also do have a mushroom that we never picked up that could be somewhere, and then that also could be the ice rod.
Yeah, I guess. Who hurt you, Clear Mouse? What's wrong with you? I don't. Do you want to talk about it? I don't.
No. I mean, it's just that's such a. I was like, man, that's not a thought I want to think about.
It's just traumatized. You're not wrong, but God.
I'm sorry in advance.
So here we go. It's the moment of truth. Where is Eri going? There's several spots that we kind of discussed already. All right, powder bed. Here we go.
Right, so this is gonna be the fastest one.
Yep, definitely. This is very reasonable. So yeah, if it's here, I mean, I guess I'm trying to put myself in Hitsu's mindset. I could see saying screw it and going straight to Turtle Rock instead of checking any of these checks. Like that is definitely something that someone could do. All right, what do we got? I mean, it's all right. It's a long, cylindrical blue thing. I guess you got to make your wishes more clear. And Link to the Past rant. Oh, so Eri is saying.
Eri is saying no swamp. All right, he's going back to Turtle Rock. This could be big.
I like this. It's a nice mixed kind of strategy. You're doing the quick, easy one of the two, and you're saying, all right, if it's not there, I'm just going to Turtle Rock. Because we've got a lot of checks. We've got lava chests, we got Mimic Cave, we got Laser Bridge, we got the big chest. I mean, there are a lot of checks in Turtle Rock. So spending a lot of time, going after the swamp check is, I mean, it's a low percentage play. But now on the other hand, if Hitsuyan ends up going straight to Turtle Rock, or checking swamp first and Ice Rod is there, he'll definitely have gained some time over Eri. So yeah, this race is not over yet. Statistically, though, the Ice Rod probably in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, or something in Turtle Rock's going to lead to the Ice Rod. But yes, hopefully it'll just be a Turtle Rock.
I mean, what else could it be? Mushroom, I guess.
Oh, that.
I'm still sad. Just thinking about it makes me sad.
That is. We also haven't found our fourth sword, so maybe that fourth sword is also somewhere here in Turtle Rock. Because I'm sure these runners both need it in order to beat Ganon at this point.
I guess you could have some buttered ham at the end. It wouldn't really do you too much good at this point. Make that first couple of phases of Ganon maybe not faster, but easier to execute, perhaps.
I don't know. You're gonna lose Eri's muscle memory here if you give him Butter Sword versus Temper Sword from NMG.
Yeah, maybe it's actually worse for Eri if he finds the Golden Sword. All right, so yeah, Aga did have several blue balls in store for these runners here. So, and again, we've got all the Turtle Rock small keys. So lava chest is 100% getting checked. So yeah, there's just a lot of checks up here in Turtle Rock for where the Ice Rod could be.
Yeah, not to mention all remaining heart pieces. I think that we haven't seen in this game, like that one.
Wow.
Jeez, 19 hearts for Eri. 19 hearts. I'm also probably for Hitsu soon.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Red Mail, Cane of Verna, Magic Cape.
I mean, both of these runners have, I don't want to say last location because it hasn't technically been last location. That's a thing people throw around too much, but they have definitely been a little jebaited by this seed. It just had a hard bottleneck for one small key Turtle Rock, essentially. So it's just one of those locations you just don't. At least with a early swamp check without the small key, it feels bad, but it's relatively quick to get to. So you just tend to see runners check it more. But Turtle Rock requires commitment. You got to climb, Death Mountain, and it just takes a while to get up there. So. All right, so it looks like Hitsuyan1337 finally got to. It looks like he is doing the bad, which honestly is a reasonable check, and it looks like he is
also not going to swamp. It looks
also going to swamp. Yeah, is that Sanctuary? No, okay, all right, yeah. Rock. So, yeah. Regardless of what happens, Eri's just got the lead here because they've had real similar routes, and there goes Eri's muscle memory.
All right, so clear disadvantage here for Eri picking up the Butter Sword.
Well, he keeps getting the sky cabbage is having given Hitsuyan some trouble there. Where is that Ice Rod? If it ends up being in swamp, this seed is just rude.
Yeah. Oh. And I mean, and as you said, Files, I mean, it's one item in Swamp, right? Versus what, like 8 or something? You know, that was available to them in Turtle Rock, plus 1 for Mimicking.
Yeah,
I mean, you're definitely gonna just come here, right? In terms of
I don't want to
odds.
say that Swamp was objectively the incorrect decision, but man, was it! Oh, Jesus.
I'm sorry, Eri. Please don't beat there on Mushroom.
God, why? Well, so there's 2 more checks that Ice Rod could be in. I mean, oh god, gross.
Poor
Just
dogs.
gross. Come on, Laser Bridge. There's a 66% chance that Laser Bridge has the Ice Rod. 4 checks there. We've got Swamp and Mushroom checks after this. Don't fail me, Laser Bridge. I need this.
Now, you think Eri's gonna use his mirror shield to deflect the lasers?
I mean, why? Oh, okay. First,
all right.
first freaking chest. Wow. So it turns out the quote-unquote correct play was to, God. So you could have done Turtle Rock, been done with it, and then gone into GT, done left side, like, you know, if you were doing like the Blaine or Dark Magician route or something like that. If you go left side GT first, you would have gotten the small key, and you would have been able to skip all of GT, which is like 5 minutes plus. Wow. Both these runners, like, Eri's got to be feeling like he's got to be staring at the screen just saying, when is Hitsuyan going to finish?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, a nice 1 cycle, or 0 cycle, excuse me, Trinex from Eri there. Something you can do with the Butter Sword for sure.
I'm glad Eri is still able to do this without his muscle memory from NMG. Oh, unfortunately, Hitsu missing that Pokey, getting Budding Beam first, and getting bullied here.
But actually, he got the last sword hit in. That could have been a lot worse than it was. I'd call that a good recovery from Hitsuyan there, because a lot of times when you miss the second spin, you gotta hit him more times with the tempered sword. So he just ends up running like way north in that room. So, all right, so there's a save and quit from Eri.
This is going to be pretty nice. He's not going to have the health refill, you know, that he normally get right after Aga 2 or a boss fight that he had, but the save and quit directly to Pyramid is significantly faster than.
Oh yeah, well, and with, you know, I guess one advantage of having, well, I guess Eri's muscle memory is irrelevant because he's still That's funny. When in doubt, go with what works, right? But yeah, I mean, with when you full clear a seed like this, you know, put all your safeties in Red Mail and Butter Sword to use. Like, you know, you don't need much more than, you know, 7 or 8 hearts to take an extra hit on Ganon and still be okay with Red Mail. So
yeah, and oftentimes mosties you come in here, right? Even when you are ready to defeat Ganon, you are on your maybe like, you know, yeah, as you said, 9, 10, 11 hearts maybe, you know, on the more conservative side. So the fact that Eri already has just 9 hearts refill as you know, half his health is, you know, he's more comfortable here. You did find your silvers in your tower. It's nice. Almost a triple. Oh,
yeah,
wow,
but he does get the centered Ganon after the torchlight there. So.
But after all this,
yeah, we still sub 2 hour AL Dungeons Key Sanity, see, Clear Mouse.
Yeah, that is amazing.
But yeah, get your bust out your GGs in chat there for Eri. It looks like he finishes up with an official time of 1:56.13. So yeah, it does score 3 more points for Team Error 216.
Yeah, GG's Eri on pretty much, I mean, actually almost full clearing this. I think you should have just done Laser Bridge, like, for posterity.
All right, well, it looks like we are joined by Eri. GG's Eri.
GG's Eri.
Thank you very much. Nice run.
So
nice run.
I gotta ask, because the seed really came down to it. When you pulled Ice Rod out of Turtle Rock, were you just like staring at the racetime.gg waiting for a dot done from like your opponent who might have went there first?
I was a little worried, but I figured that if Hitsu went here before GT, he would have probably been done around that time already.
Yeah, that's true, actually, yeah.
Because GT basement was like, I think like 5 or 6 minutes. So yeah, it was pretty classic.
Oh, and Hitsu just gave a rage slash after finding the Ice Rod on the restream. But yeah, I mean, I guess so it turns out you could have, you know, when it came time to head up, when you finally had the small keys for Turtle Rock, you could have gone straight to Turtle Rock, gotten the ice rod, and then done left side GT, and then you'd have been done. You could have skipped that 5 or 6 minutes of GT, like you said.
Yeah, I was
That would have been a
considering
weird
it.
play, but
I think I found one Turtle Rock small key in GT. I'm not exactly sure. In Key Sanity, it's a lot harder to exactly parse where you found everything.
agreed. Yeah.
So in my head it was pretty close, but I just went for like the percentage play. I should have considered not immediately doing the top of GT, those 4 checks, and just checking TR first. Maybe that's like another consideration. But if it's not in either, then I think you just automatically lose.
Yeah. A lot of
It was-
weird low percent plays you could have considered there for sure.
Yeah. So I don't think it was. I don't think it was an easy, clean cut decision. But yeah, I think overall,
I think
it was
statistically what you did was I think that was just the higher percentage play, one way or the other.
it was also the most streamlined play, because if you do find one or the other in the basement, like if you find the Agate Tower small key, you can just finish GT, check out Agate Tower, and afterwards you can go back and just save and quit after TR, because then you have the spawn on pyramid because you beat Agate. And if you find Ice Rod in the basement, you just go to TR first and then run back to GT afterwards. And I think just going GT first anyway was the better choice in that case.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, I guess your decisions are made when you find whatever item you're looking for in the GT route. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. I hadn't thought about the streamlining, but that's a good way to put it for sure.
Any thoughts about your GT basement routing, Aaron?
First.
I was actually to ask, yeah.
So, Tunnel Room was a bit of an interesting play. It's so easy to just leave it for last, but the longer you put it off, the more it just grinds in your head. Like, okay, well, I might just skip this because the likelihood that it's there, and I can just save a whole minute by not doing it, and who knows what Hitsu's doing, and all those thoughts go through your mind. So if you just do it first, you need 2 items anyway. So it's not like if you find one item, you're out of the clear. You're in the clear. You still need to think about it all the time anyway. So I just went for it, and I think it's fine because it saves you a mirror and another trip to the basement.
Yeah.
So
Tile Room first is an anti-tilt mechanism, I guess.
in a way, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it we talked about it actually, because I'm not gonna lie, we might have made a small fun of you while you did it first, but then when Hitsu had to mirror back, we're like, actually, this ended up being, I didn't think I'd ever say it, but doing Tile Room first was a time save in this exact seed. So, because yeah, at the time you did not have the Castle Tower small yet, so there were still 2 items left. It makes sense. I like the way you put it. So, Ari, this puts your team at 24 points in your division.
Yeah, still in the tight lead, I think. I'm not exactly sure what the scoring is right now, but I think we're doing pretty well.
Well, it looks like we're joined in the booth by Hitsuyan. Hitsu, GG's on that ridiculous all dungeon seed.
Yeah, GG Hitsu.
GG Hitsu.
GG.
So I'll ask you the same question I asked Ari. Were you at all worried that your opponent might have done Turtle Rock first when you found the ice rod in there, or what were you thinking?
Not really. I don't expect that Ari to gamble something, but I also gambled nothing. Maybe for me it would be the right play at the end.
No, that makes sense. I mean, Ari and I talked about it a little bit just now, but it seems like the seed had a lot of here's the obvious high percentage decision, and then here's a whole bunch of medium decisions and a couple of bad decisions, and it seemed like that was over and over until you eventually, I guess the real bottleneck in the seed for both of you was going to Turtle Rock with only 1 small key.
But also your last check.
I had Swamp Palace first chest still, where the cape was, but
I skipped South Shore at the start, so I had the dam and the first chest in one go when I was there.
You already went to pod before South Shore?
Yeah,
That was one of
Okay.
Hitsu's first locations
that
after
was
Dark World.
Giga routing. I don't know. I got the glove from Sash early, and in pod in Kek I hit a Dark World access then. Yeah, and then I was thinking, okay, you have flippers, pod 2 keys because I dipped Eastern too early. Yeah, and then I went
Harry,
pod and there
you
was
are-
hammer and flippers, hammer and mirror.
Wow. Okay. Then I'm pretty happy I got the lead that I did, I guess, because I was super afraid that you went to pod way earlier than I did. It's even
You
why I
did.
went. It's even why I went back into Feasttown, which may have surprised some people. I guess it was like,
Yep.
Mhm.
well, I went to pod relatively late. I guess I thought it was a pretty normal time, but it was like a bit worrying. I could have gone there way earlier. I found both the hammer and the mirror, and I've already done Feasttown by then. And then I find the Feasttown small key in Graveyard Ledge. And I was like, if Hitsu went here early and there's something in Feasttown, I'm never gonna win. And I gave myself like 5 minutes worth of mistakes or backtracking against Hitsu, like execution-wise. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go back in, just eat some of that time loss, but at least I don't auto-lose. And that was my thought process.
Well, technically, you were right because the seed wanted you to go there. Like Lantern was required, I believe, or I mean, is required one way or the other. But
It was bittersweet to find that. I was like, okay, it's nice, but it's not exactly what I hoped to find there.
yeah, I mean, Hitsu definitely had that pod play early super paid off. Like you had a real strong lead going in the middle, but that Turtle Rock bottleneck just ended up like you guys kind of like high-fived each other doing various dungeons at different times, and then you were both like climbing Death Mountain at the same time to head to pod. It was pretty funny actually.
I still like the seed because with my routing I still had like every checks every time on the way what I had left and never had something alone, I think. But
Yeah,
at the end it was on the last checks I got the Thievestown big key and then it was only TR left, then there was only Swamp left and yeah, then it was straightforward and then you had one decision GT or TR. But GT you have to do it 100% and bigger loadout.
Yeah, exactly.
And I expected in TRs maybe only the last pot key. And then GT is in logic completely right for the Ice Rod.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was kind of weird to go into GT when we only had 2 small keys, I think.
I think that's correct. Yeah, there were a lot in there.
Yeah, and then we found the third one in TR later. But yeah, it was kind of weird because usually if there was something in GT,
I had the
it's
third
usually-
one in GT.
Oh, the third one was in GT. Okay.
Was it in? It was not Tile Rumor.
No, that was just a big tiny, I think. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Bob.
Nice. Well, yeah, it was definitely I don't know, that was a fun seed to watch. Like you guys had, there was some good routing in the middle and like a couple of hard bottlenecks, and then there's some linear parts and some decision parts. So I don't know, it was just it looked like a fun seed to run. It was certainly a fun seed to commentate.
Yeah, thank you very much for the commentary. I think I'm gonna hop over to the German interview to make some fun of myself.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't do that at all, by the way, Eri. If you ever watched this back.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard something about Wizards 1. We're not going to talk about that. Quick swap's hard, okay?
We got a demonstration of the mirror shield. Thanks, Eri.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good work. But yeah, go say hello to our German friends over there, and yeah, thanks for the great match, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Have a great rest of the weekend, everybody.
All right, so yeah, that'll about do it for us here on SpeedGaming 4. Thanks for tuning in. There's lots of the league continues. There's lots more matches the rest of this weekend. So yeah, if you haven't already, make sure you give the SpeedGaming family of networks a follow. And yeah, stay tuned for more good content from the league coming up. So thanks again for joining me, Clear Mouse. It was a pleasure.
Oh yeah, that was great, Files. And I think there's actually one more match starting at 7:10. Looks like on SpeedGaming 3. It'll be Goomba versus Trinex for Last Locations versus 2 Pearl 2 Furious. And definitely keep your eyes on the schedule for. I think we have 2 more matches tomorrow, and then of course all next week as well for the last week of the leagues before playoffs. So until then, have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next mission.